You're already here. How nice. How nice. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the great pleasure to meet now Géraldine Picot. Give her a warm hand. She's already here on stage. Take a seat in the center. Take a seat. Make yourself comfortable. I know you have had a rush to come here, and we are very happy that you could make it even on time. Thanks for being here. Géraldine, just some words. You joined SGS a year ago on December 1 as CFO, and since spring you are CEO of SGS. Previously, you have been head of finance at the cement group Holcim, and I learned that you bring with you a wealth of experience in senior positions as CFO in France and Switzerland. I'm very happy to have you here, Géraldine. And I was asking myself after Holcim, why have you choose SGS?
Well, thank you, Christine, for interviewing me this morning. I want to say good morning, or now almost good afternoon to everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning and to spend a couple of minutes talking about not only me, but also about you and investor relations. There's former colleagues in the room, so I want to say a special hi to my former colleagues. So look, I left effectively Holcim in 2023, during the year of 2023, and I started as it was announced in July 23 that I would become CFO of SGS. When I started, when I accepted the position, to answer your question, it was the diversity of industries in which SGS is that appealed to me. My background is more industrial. I've been doing my career in an industrial environment. I like touching the product. I could not work for an insurance and banking, no offense, but I like the product. I like having this, let's say, this proximity. And the fact that SGS was really touching in all industries appealed to me. The concept of trust was also very appealing. So basically, you know, I revived the motto, when you need to be sure, which is our mission, which is basically providing trust to our customers. That's what we do. That's what we sell. We ensure that the yogurt you're going to eat has no salmonella or any bacteria that would kill you. So it is a very powerful statement. And that was, to me, something we needed to revive. So as soon as I joined, I had a clear idea on how to lead the company. And I presented a strategy, which was going to be Strategy 27 to the board. And I said, by the way, I can execute it and I can lead it. So therefore, I am also applying to CEO role, and they accepted it and empowered and entrusted me with that. So therefore, I presented Strategy 27 in January 26, when we published our accounts, and at the same time, I was CEO designate, which then became official with the AGM approval in March 2024.
So what is the Strategy 2027 about?
So Strategy 27 name is Accelerating Growth, Building Trust. So the first thing is really about growth, because, you know, at the end of the day, we all want also our stock price to go up. And this is something I told my former CEOs in the past a lot, when they were like looking at the stock price and thinking, the stock price not moving, what should I do? We've done this, we've done that, we've communicated this, and it's not moving. But you know, guys, there's no re-rating of stock price without growth, basically. So growth is the key factor to get your stock price on the rise. So the beauty in the industry of SGS, which was also another reason for me to join this company, is that the industry of SGS is a growing industry. It's a very fragmented industry, and it's a growing industry. Why? Because more and more industries outsource their testing capabilities to third parties. Also because you have strong megatrends like sustainability, digital, supply chains, and more regulation and standards in the world that implies and feed that growth of the testing, inspection, certification industry in which SGS is. Therefore, it was very natural to build a strategy around growth, to promote growth, to explain how we would overperform the market growth with our fantastic assets. We have a lot of laboratories, we are the global leader. And that is something that we needed to articulate in the strategy 27, accelerating growth, building trust. Why building trust? Because the company, and that's probably an interesting topic for your next questions, Christine, is that the company I joined was a serial profit warning company. We're always promising and under-delivering. So I had to rebuild trust for the investors and the analyst community and show that, as we are selling trust to our customer, when you need to be sure, we also had to show that we could be a trustful company, a trustworthy company for our investors. So accelerating growth, building trust. That was the name of the strategy. 3 pillars, growth, obviously.
Is it also with like buy and build? Or only with the market, which is growing and more regulation, which is like naturally like feeding your business?
It's both. It's both. Actually, under the pillar growth, you have the organic growth, but you also have the bolt-on acquisitions. Because as I said, it's a very fragmented market, so we need to consolidate it. So it's also by acquisitions. Acquisition small labs where you can incorporate the volumes, get synergies, or even a bit bigger groups, bigger companies. But this industry needs consolidation. And you want to be active on it. You don't want to be passive. You want to be the company that is going to play an important role into the consolidation. Therefore, growth is the first pillar of strategy 27. Second pillar was to put accountability and agility back in the company. There was a bit of a lot of bureaucracy. There were things to be simplified, and we needed to really put agility back. And that led to a cost-cutting plan of 100 million that we announced. But it was not about, I am announcing a cost-cutting plan. It was about, I'm going to put the organization more efficient. And by doing that, we will eliminate indirect cost layers. And that will lead to savings. So the growth is going to be profitable growth, obviously. Because my second pillar is to, how can I get the organization more efficient? And the third pillar was a solid company, a blue chip company with a strong financial and ESG profile. So that were the 3 pillars that I presented on the 26th of January. The market welcomed it.
Yeah, I've
really
seen
welcomed
that.
it. And it's all about also the perspective you're given, because at the time, the 2023 result I also presented were not that great, but giving a perspective with clear concept, and telling how you're going to get there. I'm going to get to growth by focusing my CapEx on the segments that are growing faster and on acquisition. I'm going to get my organization more efficient by eliminating the indirect layers and getting the cost cutting. And therefore, this is the profile I'm going to get. Simple, 3 pillars, making sense, so that the community can understand what it is about and get trust in it. and
That's what
get-
I wanted
get
to ask.
confidence in it.
That's because you cannot talk about trust. This is like, it's nice, but you have to prove it.
Absolutely.
It's facts and figures. I was wondering when I was preparing this interview, I was doing some researches about you, and I found out that you are very good on video. You have, yeah, really. You have several videos. You explain the strategy 2027, and I thought, oh, how smart this is, because you need some skills to do some videos like this, and you have this all, and you can use that so good. It's somehow also a bit IR, right? Because you from a CEO perspective, and you do that well understandable, and then you are delivering. You must deliver.
Yes.
What I learned from the newspapers, that the analysts, they seem really to be confident that you're going to make it already
Yes.
before 2027, right? And this is a good move, and I think for SGS and for you as CEO, that they say, yeah, she's gonna do it. So when you explain this to us, it makes so much sense, So clear, it is 1, 2, 3 pillars. Let's go. Another topic also in your field is the margins, right? There you need also to improve. How are you doing that?
But the margins would come with the
With the cost
restructuring
saving.
and the simplification.
Okay.
Because you can say, in the story of SGS, they always had two problems. One, they were promising things they were never achieving. And the second thing, especially on margins, and the second thing is that their guidance was too complicated. So the guidance I give you one example of guidance that was done by SGS, I think back in 2021 or something, when they had their capital market event, when they said, well, the compound average growth between 2021 and 2023 will strictly be above 10% at constant currency. This is impossible to model. This means that you're basically telling your analysts, take the margin of 2023, put it back into the Forex rates of 2021, and check if the compound average growth can be above 10%. But this is impossible to model. So this, plus the fact that there was always profit warnings all the time, told me I have to put something very simple. Because of all this mess, I have to go reported, which is going to be a risk because reported, you have to incorporate the Forex. But I have to do something that they can put in their Excel and that it's going to work. And I'm going to tell you how I'm going to achieve that. Hence the 100 million cost saving that they know, because if you look at the past, my career, I've always effectively delivered on my promises. Over-delivered even is better. That's what I've done in Essilor and also in Holcim. So it was important to rebase and say, well, look now, the margins, reported terms, were 14.7 in 2023. We're going to do better. And if you take the 100 million cost saving, mathematically, you get to 16.2, and that's 16.2. So simple, 27, 16.2%. How? The 100 million, at least this. So there was no, rabbit in the hat
Magic,
or whatever.
Magic.
It was simple. It was explained,
mathematic, huh?
and people can really, model that and see the progress and the return that we were going to bring to our shareholders. So keep it simple is really.
That's what we heard also
word.
from Anka this morning.
Right.
Keep it simple, also communication, and as you said, and deliver.
Yes.
And do not overact with numbers and figures where you think that sounds good at the moment, but you cannot deliver. That's
then
a
you
big
lose the
mistake.
trust, and the trust
Exactly.
is so key. I would say, to bounce back on what you said, deliver, execute on the promises. I would say one most single important things for investors, which are an important stakeholder, that's stakeholders like our employees and so on, but both investors and important stakeholders, is predictability. always have that in mind. Investors never want to be surprised. So the key word is predictability. That's really something I would say to always have in mind. And often I say, I'm kidding, and I say to investors, you're going to have the most boring company in your portfolio. It's going to be me. Why? Because, we're just going to deliver. It's going to be not up and downs and volatile and results and so on. So predictability is a key word you have to remember.
But isn't that very, let's say, not easy nowadays, where the whole world is volatile, all the crises, climate, for example, and conflicts, wars, to be predictable seems not to be so easy.
No, it's not easy, but it is part of the trust you want to also build between you and your stakeholders. So you have to build with the CFO and the CEO some kind of buffers somehow in order to ensure that you will always deliver on your promises. That's all the management of the consensus. That's also how you go with your guidance on, slowly but surely, in order to build that trust. Where the investor's going to say, well, you can buy this share. The team is solid. You're just going to deliver. You can sleep well. With this stock, you can sleep well.
We would like to hear that more, right? We would like to hear that more often. That was really a funny situation that a lady came up to me and said, hey, Geraldine, are you Geraldine? I said, fortunately not. If I see your list of tasks, I need to say that's really impressive what you need to deliver on several levels. Let me ask you this, because we are on an investor relations conference, and we have many IR people here in the room. From a C-level perspective, what do you expect as CEO from your IR team?
I do expect them to be able to understand the numbers. Obviously, that's very
key.
important because it's it's finance communication. You need to speak the language of the analyst or of the investors you're going to meet, and if you don't know anything about numbers, then that's not going to be the best situation. But you need them to be communicators. You need them to be commercial. You need them to be able to get interested into the investors, because some investors are going to build a relationship with IR. They're going to have to be able to call IR to say, you know what, can I see you on that? I have that problem, and it has to go even beyond the pure numbers, but having the ability to build a strong relationship with these important stakeholders that are our investors is key. And it's commercial relations or quality skill set that an investor, good IR, must have. And then obviously, last but not least, they need to understand the strategy in the own words of the CEO. The CEO does the marketing of the company, but the IR has to do this marketing properly. That means that they need to understand the strategy inside out to be able to communicate it with the same words of the CEO. I think it's important to...
One story.
Exactly. And that means there's this proximity to really say, okay, I understand why she says growth. I understand why she goes to report it. I understand what she means with her merger and acquisitions or her bolt-on, why it's important. I can value that. I can really bring it and tell the story and market why SGS is different from other companies of the sector. And the fact that they have this ability to build relations is also very important, because then they can play strengths. They can say, well, this one is really interested in the investment case on a 7-year or 5 to 7 years, which is great. Then I can tell the story for 5 and 7 years. Oh, this one is just interested in the dividend in 3 months, or he's a short-term investor. Well, that's okay too, because I know which kind of a story I can tell out of the strategy that's been set out. So I think it's important that you know your shareholders, that you know very well what is the profile of each shareholder.
And adapt quickly, right?
And adapt quickly.
Yeah.
I would say another, I mean, and IR is so important, but you also need to know stock exchange law. I mean, securities law. That seems obvious, but sometimes, it's good to repeat that we need to stick to the published data. We need to know when it's time to report, when it's not time. We're in the 6th year. And it's obvious that I'm also expecting from my IR team to tell me, hey, that's, we need to do a PR. That's new. We need to do a PR. We need to inform, or we need to act and inform the authorities, the regulator.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also something key, and also listen to all this market intelligence, having benchmarking. I like when my IR team comes and say, well, have you seen what this company has done in terms of, and beyond Switzerland, I mean, looking at all stock exchange and all company listed, and look at this company's done in the US or in Germany. Isn't it interesting to also have this kind of layout?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's about communicating. So, sometimes I wonder if my slides are not too crowded with text, and I'm, and like, let's see what the others do. Do they de-word more? Do they put more pictures? Is my message best conveyed with a lot of text or more pictures? And this is where I like to have my IR as a sparring partner to tell me, yes, you're right, we could do more pictures, we could do more videos, we could do more this or that, or having that, this discussion is very important, because the way you convey your message is key.
Yeah, I would like to say that your IR team can be very happy that you are such a good communicator, because sometimes they struggle so much, as I know from my jobs when I'm consulting C-level people. And if they have a hard time, let's say, to really communicate in an understandable way and like to do it. Because sometimes the people do not like to do it, and then it looks very boring and suffering, and the other people do not want to say that. I think you need to be also, as a CEO, as a CFO, very good in communicating nowadays.
Christine, I was asked by, I was visiting Spain lately, and in Madrid, my Spanish teams during the dinner said, what are the qualities you're looking for? Mm-hmm. When you hire people, when you have all your état-major, your executive committee, or the country managers, or your IR team, what are you looking for in terms of qualities? And I said, well, I'm looking for kind of 4 qualities in people. You need to have innovative ideas. And I was telling, the market intelligence, the benchmark, that is innovative ideas is something I'm looking for from my colleagues. So that's the first thing. The second thing is to work hard. Because when we have to prepare a capital market event like the one we did, can tell you my team here, they work jolly hard. And the hours were, during the day were not even enough. So that's the second thing. I would say the third thing is the teamwork. Because these days you can't do anything alone. You need to be able to work in teams and ask the others, and ask the business guys, and ask the finance guys, and ask what is it you're doing, so and include them. So you need the teamwork, and the fourth is exactly what you said, which is being a good communicator, because these days you can't just have a good product, you need to do the marketing of it. You just can't have a good strategy, you need to market it, right? And that is the communication skills. And this is a must-have. I mean, not even for the CEO, it's a must-have, but for beyond the CEO, it's a must-have. So these 4 qualities are key. Innovative ideas, work jolly hard, teamwork, and a good communicator. That's the 4 qualities that we must all have.
I had an interview last week with Kevin Roberts. He's from sales, marketing, Gillette, PepsiCo. He's an elderly man now. He was for 17 years CEO global of Saatchi & Saatchi. And he had a presentation about the skills you need today, also as a leader on several levels. And he said, it's kindness. And he showed us some numbers, how being kind motivates your people to really give all. And you said that your team had to work day and night.
Yeah.
So also kindness in the team, not only from a leadership perspective, is kindness. And I said, wow, if I look around the world and I see the leaders today, I don't see that much kindness, actually. And they said, yeah, that's what they need to learn from business. But you said the teamwork, and that's a question also about spirit, I guess. And this is culture, and culture is coming top down, as we know. Is anybody here in the room having a question for Géraldine right now? Is the chance? Or are you so impressed? Like,
No, come on. Any questions? Welcome.
Any questions? Here.
No, I try one. It's very informative. So one question, since you obviously seem to be very interested in the investor community, given your roles also in the past and the importance of the investor community. How much time do you roughly spend during the week, months, or whatever you want to allocate it with investors or for IR purposes?
No, that's a good question. I would say, obviously it depends if you're starting as a CEO and you're introducing a new strategy and you're implementing a lot of changes. You need to communicate internally to your employees, that's stakeholders, but you need also to communicate externally. What are the changes and how the changes are happening, because they are questioning, their words and how it is really executed inside the company. So I would say this year quite a lot of time, but I would say this year is not necessarily the most representative year. But look, we communicate every quarter, right? So we do roadshows on half year and full year. So maybe if you take a month out of 12 months of year you work, would be at least, maybe even 6 weeks. So it's a lot of time, right? That you have to dedicate with your teams. I mean, I'm not only the external time, internal time of building, interacting with the IR teams and building everything. Yes, it's a good month, I would say. So good 10-15% of the time.
More questions, inputs?
Hi, Géraldine. To what extent does feedback from your investors inform your thinking on the development of your strategy and thoughts on capital allocation?
That's a good question. So you see very well if strategy is well accepted or not when you announce it. When I announced it, put back growth at the center, stock price took 10%. So you see, investors like it and they understand it. Now we need to execute on it, which we did in June, and we took another 10% up. Then the feedback, we receive on the strategy was very positive. So we knew that we were basically answering sometimes they push you to get more, or only 1.5 percentage point more, or why report it. So this is where, with IR, you need to explain why you do that and why it's good for them and why it's going to bring returns. But I would say investors, you have to listen to them, but they should not dictate your strategy, right? You have your strategy, you have to explain it, you have to demonstrate why it makes sense and why they should invest into your stock. but you don't want to listen to necessarily to or be governed by their needs or their own agenda, right? Now, when they come to capital allocation, I really listen to them because there's also some patterns. The US wants dividends. The French or the continental or wants another thing. My Swiss investor base is quite homogeneous on how they look at capital allocation. They also want dividends. Some other would prefer scrip. Some other would prefer, so they all have their own opinion and wish. And I think it's important we take note of everyone, I think it's a good, and this is where IR knows, well, these guys, they don't very much yield, or they don't like so much the dividend, they want growth. They want the TSR rather than the payout. These one, they want the cash. These others, we need to know, and we need to have the blend and listen to all of them. At the end of the day, you have your capital allocation that serves your strategy. And it has to all be consistent. I do think you need to attract long-term shareholders in your shareholder base, the one that are going to buy your investment case and accompany the company for, for some years, not only just on a coup. Of course, you will have some hedge funds, and it's not a bad thing to have in absolute terms, but, they are not necessarily having the same objectives. So this is where IR has the art to discuss and, try to put everyone happy. But at the end of the day, the capital allocation serves the strategy. Because you can't put out and set out the strategy if you don't have the means to execute on it. I can't say, I'm going to grow and have bolt-ons and buy, and at the same time serves a dividend that is pumping all my free cash flow and not allowing me to finance the growth, right? So it all needs to be consistent. So you can say, well, look, I'm having the most attractive remuneration, and I want to preserve that, but at the same time want to grow. So, the big dividends, this might be attractive, but you're getting the company poorer by stripping out, huge dividends, especially if you have, objectives of growth. So it's a balance, right? It's a balance. And I'm sure you can always find strengths to defend and to get the short terms or the hedge funds happy, and also have the good arguments to get the long only or the one that are there to accompany, again, the company in their investment case for the 5 to 7 years. And that's how, that's the art of IR, to be able to have everybody happy. So yes, I listen to them, and I want my IR to tell me, well, these guys, they're more this, these guys, they're more that. And for me, it's better prepared for their questions.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Geraldine. May I ask you a question at the end of this discussion? After being, I think, 9 months CEO?
Officially 9 months, yes, and it's going to be 11 months now as a reality.
So almost a year. What would you say if somebody asks you, what's the best about being CEO of SGS?
I would say the people culture. I'm enjoying it every minute, interacting with the great teams I'm having. So it's SGS is a people business, and I love it. That's what I like.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Geraldine Picot, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you.